Good afternoon, dear students. I hope all of you are doing well and safe. I am Archita Gupta from Henry Didozio Academy. This is my third class with you. In my second class, I discussed a poem from your syllabus, My Mother at 66. Today, I am here with you again with a poem which is entitled A Thing of Beauty by John Keats. John Keats belonged to Romantic era, Romantic poetry. He belonged to the second generation of Romantic poets along with Shelley and Byron. He was born in the year 1795 and died in 1821 only at the age of 26. And this poem that we are going to read today, A Thing of Beauty, is a very famous poem of Keats, and it is taken from Endymion, a poetic romance which was published in the year 1818. And the very opening line of the poem, A Thing of Beauty is a joy forever, strikes the keynote of Keats's word, because Keats was known for his aesthetic philosophy and his concept of beauty. And this poem is a we are going to read is an excerpt from Endymion, a poetic romance. It is based on Greek mythology, in which Endymion, a shepherd who had a vision of Cynthia, and he went in search for her in the forest and down under the sea. Now, Romanticism is said to have begun after the publication of lyrical ballads in 1798 by William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth is a very known poem, and I hope you are in class 12 and all of you have got some poems of Romantic era of Wordsworth, John Keats and other poets also. So, Keats is a Romantic poet who is inseparable from the term romantic. That's why before approaching Keats's poetry, I think we should know at least some of the features of Romantic poetry, because we can say that this poem is a representative of Romantic poetry, and we should, before approaching Keats's poet, we should know at least some of the features, some of the important features that are also related to the poem, related to the theme of the poem that I am going to discuss here. In short, Romanticism is a very vast era. Romantic poetry is a very vast era. In short, if we define Romantic poetry, you have read daffodils, you have read lines written in early spring, at least you have some of the ideas of what a Romantic poetry is, what are its main features. And in short, if we put it in a short sentence, that Romanticism is the development of individualism and embrace of natural world in poetic form. That is development of individualism. Individualism is something which is not the individual personality, that is individual, that is essential goodness of human being is also related to the concept of Romantic poetry. It's not only that is we are individual personality from what? Outer and also within, the essential goodness of human being, and it is directly related to the natural world, because it is developed under the influence of natural world or in the lap of nature. So, if we put it in short, it is the Romanticism is the development of individualism and embrace of natural world in poetic form. So, it's obvious that nature plays an important role in Romantic poetry. It's a predominant feature in Romantic poetry. Students, now as I have said that we should approaching Romantic poetry, we should know at least some of the features. So, first I am just giving you the main features that are very important in understanding Keats's poetry, A Thing of Beauty. First of all, first one that I have written, look at this, an emphasis on emotional and imaginative spontaneity. So, in romantic poetry, we have emotional and imaginative spontaneity. Emotional, that is, romantic poets produced work that that express their spontaneous feelings. Spontaneous feeling which was not designed, which was not calculated, it was spontaneous feelings, and they found parallel of their own emotional soul, own emotional lives and in the natural world, and celebrated joy and beauty. These are the main things, and celebrated they express their spontaneous emotion found parallel in the natural world, and celebrated joy and beauty. These two concepts is very important in romantic poetry, joy and beauty. Now, so then come nature. Nature, under the concept of nature, we have first love of nature. As I have said earlier that you have read at least some of romantic poems in your syllabus, like Lines Written in Early Spring, Daffodils, and by Wordsworth, and by Keats, to one who has long been in the city pant, and you are now in class 12, and I think I am sure you got this poem Lines Written in Early Spring in your class 10, because under our old syllabus of TVAC we had in class 10 Lines Written in Early Spring by William Wordsworth, and you know that love of nature is a predominant theme in romantic poetry. Then nature as a living entity. Nature in romantic poems was considered as a living entity. It was not seen scientifically. There was almost a religious attitude towards nature, and in some way divine. But nature was considered as a living entity that can that influences human nature. So, nature was considered as a living entity, especially in the poems of William Wordsworth. In his Lines Written in Early Spring, you know, all of you have got this line, nature's holy plan. He talked about nature's holy plan in Lines Written in Early Spring. So, nature was considered as a living entity and not as scientifically, and they believe that nature influences human nature also. I am coming to that point like this, nature as a living entity. And the third one is nature and human interaction. It is very important in the context of romantic poetry in particular, and John Keats poetry, romantic poetry in general, and John Keats poetry in particular. So, nature and human interaction. So, nature, and we can write it like these also, nature and nature combination. Nature and nature combination. So, romantic poets believe that there is a close association between human being and nature. How does it influence human nature? Nature in capital is the external nature, and nature is the, in small, starting with small n, is the human nature. So, it was believed that the essential qualities of human being, the good qualities of human being, or you can say the human qualities of human being, are developed in the lap of nature, are nurtured in the lap of nature, and therefore they could see the beautiful things around the world, the joy and the beauty in the outside world, and it also their individual personality was also developed because of that. And remember one line, it's a very famous line connected to that, and also a thing of beauty, that to my two fair works, I am quoting from Wordsworth lines written in early spring. To her fair works did nature link a human soul that through me ran, and much it grieved my heart to think what man has made of man. That is, he is feeling sad that man has detached themselves, man has detached himself from nature, because nature has a nature and human being are closely associated. And he also talked about how natural objects like flowers, birds were very happy in the lap of nature, they were enjoying, but man has detached themselves. And Keats was especially known for perceiving, he had a gift of perceiving the world. And delight his readers through his poems. In this poem also we will see that how Keats has described, how Keats has presented a world that is full of beauty, and that not only beautiful things but also essential goodness of human being that will last forever, that is not temporary, that is permanent. So, coming back to romantic poetry, I am just telling it again that these are the things that are very important in approaching Keats' poetry, that is an emphasis on emotional and imaginative spontaneity, its spontaneous feeling, expression of spontaneous feeling, not designed, not calculated, and nature. Under the concept of nature, we have love of nature first, then nature as a living entity, not seen as scientifically, and also nature and human interaction is very important. Otherwise, in the lap of nature, the romantic poets couldn't see beauty, what ordinary people couldn't perceive. Now, third one is simplicity and style and language. So, romantic poets wrote in a language which was very simple, and also in style it was not decorated style, and it was very different from the previous the poetry of previous age. If you study further literature, then you will know that they were very different from that is their previous age. This is neoclassicism. Then simplicity and in style and language. So, these are the things that we should keep in mind while appreciating romantic poetry of John Keats. Now, coming to John Keats, as it's also written in your book, that he had gift for perceiving the world and leaving his moods and aspiration in terms of language. So, John Keats was known for his concept of beauty. I think all of you have understood these concepts now. John Keats was known for his concept of beauty, aesthetic philosophy, and also Hellenism. Hellenism is that is, he had a fascination for Greek mythology, and Endymion is also an example of that. So, I am taking about Keats' concept of beauty. Keats' concept of beauty. Keats' concept of beauty. Now, concept of beauty, actually John Keats was a worshipper of beauty. He was a lover of beauty. He could see beauty in everything. He could perceive beauty in everything. Actually, for him, he wrote poetry only out of what only he felt in his senses. Here comes his conception of sensuousness. He wrote poetry, he had a gift for sense perception. He could perceive beauty in the beautiful objects and the other things also. Sensuousness, he was known for his sensuousness. Keats once wrote that, I am certain of nothing except for the holiness of heart's affection and truth of imagination. What imagination seizes as beauty must be truth. Imagination seizes as beauty must be truth. That is what he perceives as beauty. He thought that it was also truth. It's another concept, and there is a line, truth is beauty, beauty is truth, truth beauty, in a ode on Grecian urn, a very famous ode by John Keats. And for Keats, actually, world of beauty was an escape from dreary and painful experience of life also, and because he could perceive beauty out of his imagination, what he thought that imagination sees as beauty must be truth. That's why he could see beauty even in very small things, even in a sparrow, not in the splendid work of art, the classical work of art. He could even see beauty even in a small sparrow, even in a small flower. And he had a deep insight to see beauty even on those things that are not considered beautiful by ordinary people or by ordinary standard or by recognized standard. So, he had a perception of beauty. So, we can say that how did John Keats we are reading John Keats's poetry, that is a thing of beauty, and in this poem we will see that he could perceive beauty in everywhere. He could perceive beauty which gave him a positive attitude to life, to reject the negative attitude or negativity of life. So, how it's very important to know how he could perceive the beauty, or what was the process, how his concept of beauty came to him. So, we can say, as from this discussion, that I have talked about sensuousness, I have talked about imagination, and then his concept of beauty. So, if we just put it down like this, that is, his concept of beauty comes from his sensuousness, then imagination, and then his perception of beauty. Sensuousness is thing that is sense perception, the thing that we feel in our senses. And then from sensuousness we have imagination. They are created a imagination, and imagination is related to the human, we can say human and nature interaction, come from human and nature interaction, because I have said that the best qualities of human being are, according to the romantic poets, best qualities of human beings are developed in the lap of nature. So, here come imagination, and then from imagination perception of beauty. And as he could perceive beauty out of imagination, that's why it's not that he was he just found beauty in the beautiful objects. There are essential human qualities, and there are other things in which also he could perceive beauty, and it was permanent, it was forever. It had an eternal influence on human mind, in human mind or mind of John Keats obviously, and also in human mind. So, these are the concepts that we should know before approaching Keats's poetry. We have, if we just summarize it, we have the concept of beauty, first of all the love of nature, human and nature interaction, that is external nature and internal nature, and then Keats's concept of beauty comes from his sense perception, his imagination, and then his perception of beauty. The perception is beauty is very important. The thing the flower that we see today can wither tomorrow, can die tomorrow, but the perception that we are getting today will long forever. This is the thing of beauty, is a joy forever. Now come to the poem. Let us move to the poem. A Thing of Beauty by John Keats. Look at the poem. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness. So, here the poet says a thing of beauty is a joy forever. A beautiful thing is a thing of beauty is a joy forever. It gives us joy forever. Its impact is permanent. Its impact is eternal. Its loveliness increases. Its loveliness is never fades away. It's rather its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness. It will never pass into nothingness. So, it will give a permanence in our mind, it will give a permanent effect in our mind, and it will never be a blank, because it will never pass into nothingness. That is the beauty that we are perceiving and the joy that we are getting. It will remain with us forever. It will remain with us forever, giving us a pleasure, giving us pleasure and giving us delight. It will never fade away. But it will never fade away, it will never fade, it is eternal, it will be permanent in our heart, but will keep a bower quiet for us. Bower quiet for us. It will give us it is like a quiet bower. Bower means that is shady place under a tree. Shady place under tree. B-O-W-E-R. This poem is from your Flamingo, and the page number is 98. Page number is 98. A bower quiet for us. It is a shady place. Quiet mean that is calm and peaceful. That is, the thing of beauty will create for us a shady place, a peaceful place to live on, to peaceful life for us, peaceful, that is, it will give a peace of mind. A bower quiet for us, and a sleep full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing. And it will also give a relaxed life, a comfortable life, a peaceful life, and a sleep full of sweet dreams. So, and health and good health, it will provide us a sweet sleep without any tension, a good health and quiet breathing, and a life of relaxation. A thing of beauty, the kind of joy that a thing of beauty provides is that it will give us a peaceful life, it's like a shady place. Shady place means that where we can rest, where we don't have any trouble. We are free from our trouble of mind actually, and also that is we have good health, and also we have quiet breathing. Quiet breathing means life of relaxation and rest. Therefore, on every morrow are we wreathing a flowery band to bind us to the earth. Therefore, and that's why, because a thing of beauty is a joy forever, a thing of beauty give us pleasure, we can sense something which is very comfortable, which is an escape from a dreary and painful life experience for us. And therefore, on every morrow, on the next day, every day, on every morrow, we can say every day, every moment, are we reading? Here is an inversion, we are reading. Are we reading means we are reading. I am going to rhetorical figure also later on. I will talk about it, I will discuss about it. Here is an inversion. Inversion is a figure of speech. We are reading a flowery band to bind us to the earth. Reading means encircling a flowery band. We are reading a flowery band to bind us to the earth. Band means strap. That is, we are reading a flowery band to bind us to the earth. That is, that will that will attach us to the art, that will bind us to the art. So, if we go deep into it, that is every day, therefore every moment, every day we wrap ourselves, or we are wrapped in a flowery band. What is flowery band? Flowery band is the beauties of nature. Beauties of nature, we are encircled by the beauty of nature. We are covered by the beauty of nature, and we want to be covered by the beauty of nature to bind us to the earth. And these bind us to the earth, that we are getting attached to the earth. What is the meaning of we are getting attached to the earth? That is, it gives us a reason to live. It gives us a reason to live. This that is, despite of the negativity in this world, the sadness, the bad things in the world. This is a flowery band. The beautiful thing is a flowery band that bind us to the earth. It gives us a reason to live further. It gives us a reason to live further. If we are feeling painful, if we suffer from something, but this beautiful gives us a reason, these beautiful things give us a reason to live further. That is the implication of that we are reading a flowery band to bind us to the earth. That is, we are encircled by the beautiful things of this earth, and this is a source of joy for us. This gives us a reason to live further in spite of the hatred, greed, negativity, the bad things that are going in this world. Spite of despondence, of the inhuman dearth of noble natures, of the gloomy days, of all the unhealthy and over darkened ways made for our searching. Spite of despondence. Spite means of despondence. Spite means, that is, desire to hurt. Desire to hurt, or we can say desire to hurt or grudge. That is, it is a lack of, we can say it is a lack of fellow feeling. Lack of fellow feeling. The spite means we have a desire to hurt somebody. We have a desire to harm, that is, we are harmful to anybody. That is spite. We have a desire to hurt. We are harmful. So, this we can say it is a lack of fellow feeling. We do not have fellow feeling for others. So, this is the point that this is the thing that the poet is trying to convey, that this that is, we don't possess the human quality, basic human qualities that makes us human. So, the spite of despondence means the desire to hurt or grudge. Spite of despondence. Despondence means low spirit, or you can say depressed or hopelessness. Despondence, we can say low spirit. Low spirit. So, we have a desire to hurt or grudge something, despondent, we have low spirit. All of these are referring to the negativities of this world, the sadness of this world, spite of the cause of sadness of this world. Spite of despondence, of the inhuman dearth. Dearth means lack of something. Lack of something. Inhuman dearth. Inhuman dearth therefore means that lack of essential goodness in human being, or lack of human qualities. Inhuman dearth of noble nature. Noble means virtuous or good. Good nature. That is, there is lack of that is, as a human being we lack the essential qualities of human being. We do not have noble quality. We are not virtuous. Because it causes painful. It causes pain. Sorry, it is painful and it causes pain. Of the gloomy days, of all the unhealthy and over darkened ways made for our searching, of the gloomy days, that is we are passing a days which is gloomy. It is a transferred epithet. The days are not gloomy, we are gloomy. That is transferred epithet, means epithet we can say adjective. So, here gloomy has been the word gloomy has been transferred from human being to days, and it comes before days. That is why it is a transferred epithet. Gloomy days, the days are not gloomy, we are gloomy. The gloomy days, we are passing the gloomy days, we are passing sad days because of the inhuman dearth of noble nature, virtuous lack of virtuous nature within us, of all the unhealthy and over darkened way, all unhealthy, all the negative things of the world and over darkened ways. And the ways that we are leading is not darkened, it is over darkened. It is not only darkened, it is over darkened. It is covered with gloom, covered with sadness, covered with greed, covered with hatred, all these things that refer to negativities of this world. So, what does the poet say here? Poet is saying that the beautiful things gives us a reason, the beautiful things gives us a joy forever, and it gives us a reason to live farther. Even if there is sadness, there is there is sadness, there is hatred, there is greed, there is lack of noble nature, all these things. So, these beautiful things gives us a positive vibes against this negativity to live further. So, it says therefore, it is a joy forever, and it has that capability to that strength to give us that spirit, not low spirit, give us this high spirit to live on and to discard and to deny the negativities of this world. So, we can say that how does it come to the poet? It comes to the poet in the lap of nature. He is referring to the beautiful things of nature, and in the lap of nature we can foster a spirit, we can foster a sense of goodness within us. So, here this is how that the external nature influences internal nature of us also, internal nature of us also. The poet is also referring to this. If you should make it short like that, the unique thing of beauty it never fades away, it is permanent, it gives us joy, and it also gives us a reason to live further in spite of all the negativities of this world, and it gives us a positive vibes to deny or to discard the sadness of this world. We can say it is an escape from the painful experience of the life of this life. Yes, in spite of all we have all these things, all these negativities in this world, but in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves away the pall from our dark spirit. In spite of all these things, there are some shape of beauty that removes the cover of darkness from our spirit. Cover of darkness from our spirit. Spirit is what? Spirit is soul. Soul, our mind, body and soul, which just govern our life every day. We govern our life every day. So, if we cover our spirit, our soul with the darkness, with the cloud of a darkness, cloud of bad things, then we cannot be happy in our life. So, but the things of beauty, some shapes of beauty gives us a reason to live further in spite of this negativity. Some shape of beauty moves away the removes the cover of darkness from our spirit, from our soul. Now here the sun, the moon, trees old and young. Here the poet lists some beautiful things in nature, some beautiful things in nature, which gives us a positive vibe or which gives us joy. I am writing the object that the poet lists, because it will be useful in writing your question answer. So, now the poet lists out some of the things that give us a spirit, give spirit to live. What are they? Such the sun, the moon, trees old and young, sprouting a shady boon for simple shape, and such are daffodils with the green world they live in, and clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert make against the hot season. The mid forest brake, rich with sprinkling of fair marked rose blooms, and such too is the grandeur of the dooms. Now, he gives the list, the sun. Sun is a beautiful object that gives us a reason to live. It gives us energy. Sun, then moon, the peaceful moon, trees old and young, also the young trees and the old trees, sprouting a shady boon. Sprouting means that is germinating or producing, you can say creating a shady boon. Shady means a place with a shade, we can say a peaceful shade, a peaceful place. Shady boon means blessing. I am writing it here, trees old and young trees, old and young trees, these are the thing of beauty that the poet lists. Young trees, trees old and young trees, sprouting, trees are old and young trees that are producing or giving a shady boon, a peaceful shade. Boon mean blessing, boon mean blessing. So, it is a blessing from God or from heaven. That these natural objects are like a blessing to us from God. Blessing to us from God. Refer to the concept of nature as a living entity. It has a direct link to God, and so in some poets considered living as a divine also, divine entity also. So, it is a blessing, this beautiful thing, shady boon, the old and young trees that are giving a shady shelter is like a blessing to us from God. It is a shady boon for simple sheep. Simple sheep, they are giving shade, they are giving peace. This old and that is the sheep can rest under the young and old trees, and that is why it is a boon. It is a boon from God, it is a blessing from God. Shady boon for simple sheep, a object of nature also. Here the poet is referring that how an object of nature can give peace to another object of nature. So, there is an association, there is a love between these natural objects. A simple sheep. Simple sheep is also a, that we can think that it refers to, or it is a symbol of innocence, symbols of nature, natural innocence, or without devoid of any kind of artificiality. Simple sheep. So, what does the line mean? The line means that old and young trees gives a shady place for the simple sheep or for the sheep to rest, and it is like a blessing to us, blessing to the human world. The natural world is a blessing to the human world also, and to also the objects of nature. And such are daffodils with the green world they live in. Now, another thing is daffodils. Daffodils with the green world. This is also an object of nature that the poet is referring to. Sun, moon, old and young trees, daffodils with the green world. Daffodil is an European plant with yellow flowers, very beautiful flower. Daffodils with a green world they live in, that is in the green world, in the green forest. The poet is creating an image imagery, actually creative the imagery with the green world. Just imagine that, just see from this is sense of sight that the poet is using. Daffodils with the green world, that imagine that the green world, there is a green world, a green forest, and there are daffodils. Daffodils that are they live in the green world, they live in, and clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert make against the hot season. And clear rills means small stream, clear rills means small streams. Clear rills mean RILLS, it means small stream. Clear rills, that is with transparent water. Clear rills can mean a small stream with transparent water, it's very clear water. It gives a that for themselves a cooling covert make. Covert means a cover. Cooling covert make against the hot season. So these small streams give us comfort in the hot season, in the hot summer. And this also a beautiful thing that gives us joy, and it's created by God, and it's a blessing to us. The clear rills that for themselves a cooling covered make. Cooling means that gives us comfort in the hot summer season. The mead forest brake rich with sprinkling of fair mask rose blooms. The mead forest brake, mead forest brake rich with sprinkling of fair mask rose blooms. So up to this, after bloom, it's an object of nature, as beautiful thing that the poet is referring to. Brake rich with a sprinkling. Mead forest brake means thicket, a thick masses of ferns, and rich with sprinkling of fair mask rose. It's a mass of ferns, and here the fair mask rose. Mask rose is a flower. Mask rose is a rose actually with large white mark scented flowers. It's a very beautiful flower with a beautiful fragrance also. And in the forest, in the mead forest, there blooms the fair mask rose. Sprinkling means scattering. It's also an imagery like that of daffodils. That imagine that there is a forest, there is a thick mass of ferns, and in the middle of this farm there is sprinkling of mask roses. Sprinkling means the mask roses are blooming in this forest. So it's a very rich imagery, and it directly appeals to our senses, our sense of sight. The visual imagery, we can say, is very beautiful imagery, and poet says that this kind of beauty beauty in the world gives us a joy forever, gives joy forever. It's joy, the perceiving this beauty in this natural world is a joy for us. It's a joy for us. I am writing it here. Mead forest brake, the mead forest brake rich with sprinkling of fair mask rose bloom. Rich with, I am writing writing it because it will be useful in answering the question. Mask rose bloom, mead forest brake rich with sprinkling of fair mask roses. Sprinkling of fair mask roses. So these are the beautiful things of nature that the poet John Keats is referring, and he says that in spite of the negativities in this world, in spite of hatred, in spite of lack of human qualities, there are some shapes of beauty that gives us joy. And he lists out these things. These all are the natural objects of nature, natural beauties. And now he says, and such too is the grandeur of the dooms we have imagined for the mighty dead. And such too means, that is, and also the grandeur of the dooms. Grandeur means magnificence, splendor of the doom we have imagined for the mighty dead. Here he is not referring to a natural object, he is referring to the glorious people who died a glorious death because they sacrificed their lives for a great cause. So here he is not referring to natural object, he is here reference to the essential goodness, the human qualities of human being. So these things are also beautiful. These things are also beautiful, and it also gives us a joy forever. And also all lovely tales that we have heard or read, and all the beautiful tales of the great people that we have heard, that we have read, and endless fountain of immortal drink pouring unto us from the heavens bring. Endless fountain of immortal drink. And he considers this thing of beauty is like an endless fountain, a eternal fountain, a infinite and limitless fountain, that is timeless, the perennial fountain of immortal drink. Immortal drink, that immortal drink pouring unto us from the heavens bring. Pouring means, that is, the heaven is pouring in unto us. Heavens brink mean edge, E-D-G-E, E-D-G-E, it's mean, edge means, brink mean edge, that is from heaven, from God, that is God is pouring unto us a endless fountain of infinite drink. That is, these beautiful things are like a infinite fountain and limitless fountain of immortal drink. Here is, it's a metaphor, that he is comparing the beautiful things, the beautiful shapes of the world, the joy that gives us joy forever, like an immortal drink. It's perennial, it's permanent, and it is pouring unto us from God. An endless fountain of immortal drink pouring unto us from the heavens bring. This line, the last two lines are very important. This sums up the theme of the poem, that the beautiful things are like the immortal drink that the God gives us, that the God blesses us with, to live in this world, to get attached to the world, to give, that is a reason to live further. So this line is a very important line. So this is actually the idea of the poem, that the thing of beauty is gives a joy forever. Thing of beauty, if we perceive beauty in this thing, it's a joy, it gives us a joy that is permanent in our heart. It will give us a reason to live on, in spite of all the negativities, in spite of the greed and the inhuman dearth of noble qualities. We can live farther, it gives us a hope to live farther, these beautiful things. The life with these beautiful things is a joy forever. And now come to the question and answer. I said that I will also discuss the question and answer. List the things of beauty mentioned in the poem. So here is the list thing of beauty: sun, moon, old and young trees, daffodils with the green world, clear lilies and meet forest break rich with sprinkling of fair marks roses. There is another thing, that is the grandeur of the dooms we have imagined for the mighty dead. Kids also refers to it as a beautiful thing that gives us a spirit, that is fosters in us a sense of high spirit, a sense of goodness, we can think. And second one is, list the things that cause suffering and pain. List the things that cause suffering and pain. So these are the that is cause suffering and pain is spite of despondence, of the inhuman dearth of noble nature, of the gloomy days of all the unhealthy and over darkened ways. So these are the things that cause suffering and pain to us. That is, spite of despondence, low spirit, hopelessness, our desire to harm others, inhuman death, lack of human qualities, lack of virtuous man, and the gloomy days, and the unhealthy and over darkened ways, and the negative thought of our negative thoughts that possess us. And what does the line, therefore are we reading a flowery band to bind us to earth, suggest you? It means that we have, as I have discussed, that it means that we are get attached to the earth, we get a cause to live further by perceiving the beautiful object. It gives us a reason to live. It gives us a reason to live. Therefore, are we reading the flowery band? Here is the that we are encircling ourselves with the, we want to encircle ourselves in the midst of nature, in the beautiful objects. Why is what makes human beings love life in spite of troubles and suffering? Because of all the some shapes of beauty that I have just referred, some shapes of beauty gives us a reason to live in spite of troubles and sufferings. And what are the shapes of beauty? The sun, moon, old, young and trains, daffodils with the green world, clear rills, mid forest break rich with sprinkling of fair musk roses, and also the grandeur of the mighty dead. Why is grandeur associated with the mighty dead? Why is the splendid, that is splendor is associated with the mighty dead? Because they died for a great cause, because they died for humanity's sake. They were selfless, they are not selfish, they possessed human qualities, good qualities, noble nature. That is why grandeur, the splendor, a glory is associated with the mighty dead. Powerful and strong, mighty mean powerful and strong, but here it's powerful and strong people are not always good. They are mighty dead, they are glorious. They are glorious because of their achievement, because they had sacrificed their life for noble qualities. They possess noble qualities for good cause. Do you experience things of beauty only for short moments, or do they make lasting impression of us? Obviously, the beautiful things make lasting impression of us. And Keats at the outset of his poem, in the very first line, says that a thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its impact is permanent. It's endless. It gives us a joy forever. It's eternal. So, do we experience thing of beauty only for a short moments? No, we don't experience beauty only for a short moment. Its impact is permanent. It gives a lasting impression on us. What image does the poet use to describe the beautiful bounty of the earth? So, what are the image that the poet described? These are the image that I have said about the daffodils with the green world in the they live in, and the that is forest break rich with sprinkling of fair musk roses, the old and young trees sprouting a shady boon to the simple sheep. So, these are the images that the poet described to the beautiful bounty of the earth, the sun, the moon, etc. And the poet here uses imagery. Imagery is there it's a word picture that gives a sense impression to the reader, gives a sense impression to create a visual picture for the reader. It appeals to our senses, and the imagery that the poet uses here is all like sense of sight, that refers to sense of sight. It's a visual imagery. The poet has written the poem so beautifully that we can just imagine, we can see the picture, see the nature before us. So, this is also an imagery. This is called imagery, and the poet, this is a brilliant example of, this poem is a brilliant example of poetic imagery. So, these are the question, and remember that think it out section, the NCERT questions that are given in your textbooks are very important. You just understand the poem. I hope you have understood the poem and also the questions and answer that I have discussed. Just prepare this and just so that you can write it in your exam. And if any other questions come from it, then you can also write it, I think. I hope all of you have understood the poem, and there are also there are examples of a metaphor. Then that is, I have said that we are reading. Are we reading? There is a figure of speech of inversion. Inversion means that is changing the word order. Are we reading means we are reading. In poem or in poetry, the poet uses for poetic effect. And look at this. This poem is very beautifully written with rhyme scheme like a, forever, forever, never, keep, sleep, breathing, reading, earth, dearth, days, ways, like this. And the poem also has the example of alliteration. Alliteration means the repetition of same consonant sound. Sir, you will find very many examples of it. That is band, then shape, novel nature, simple shape, cooling covered, sleep, sweet, like this. And also that is, I have also talked about transferred epithets. Here we have gloomy days and unhealthy and over darkened ways. These are the example of transferred epithet. And we have metaphor also in quiet bower, bower quiet, flowery band, immortal drink. In these cases we have metaphor. Perhaps these are not important for your examination purpose, the figure of speech, but you should know it because it enhances poetic effect, and you should know it because to enrich your language. So as to enrich your language, you should know it. So I hope you have understood the poem and you can write any question that will come from it. I am sure it will be not difficult for you. So that's all for today. Thank you all and stay safe.